Just keep going back to the corner here.
First and goal, they run it. The officials are going to come in and
meanwhile, that game clock is just ticking. Stop and getting the ball back.
Well, you're getting down to that danger zone.
Yeah.
Riddick quickly up under center, keeps it himself.
I'm telling you, you can't get in
He's
there.
having trouble. That's going to bring up a third and goal here. And again, the seconds are ticking away.
There's a reason they threw the fade 2 times in a row. Got him down to the 6-inch line. You got a quarterback that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our sports talk here with Chris Heidel. In the driver's seat all by myself this evening. George Patera is on assignment. He has a anniversary, his wedding anniversary, and Ewan McCreef is somewhere over the rainbow. So we're going to be kicking off this show at 7:05. We were going to have a roundtable discussion on USC and Notre Dame, who we just played there with Adam Grossbar, who is the USC beat writer for the Osher County Register out there in beautiful California. Tim was going to join us. Tim Pricer from IrishIllustrated.com was going to join us, but he had a situation at home that he had to take care of, so we'll get him on during the Navy game coming up. And then at 7:20, Raphael Haynes from the three-point conversion will join us. We haven't talked to him since the beginning of the football season, and we saw him down in the ACC kickoff. He'll join us at 7:20. I think Clemson Todd, Clemson's football #1 fan. He's from the Orlando area. He'll be joining us at 7:30 because I want to talk to a big rabid Clemson fan and see what he thinks about the team so far this year. And then at 7:45, Demarius White, the head coach of McDaniel College, is a Division 3 school here in Maryland, but it could be Division 2. I can be wrong about that. He will be joining us at 7:45. And let's bring in Ewan. So hey, buddy, what's going on?
Nothing, buddy. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for coming on tonight. Yeah, we got a good show of different types of situations here.
Yeah, I see that, man. Yeah, sounds good, Herbie.
Yeah.
How's the week that was, buddy?
Not bad. Pretty good. Yeah, we're going to talk some Division 2 and Division 3 football around here because it's people don't realize in the state of Maryland, everybody thinks it's Maryland, Morgan State, and Towson, but there's other schools that play just like down in North Carolina and just down in Florida. They have schools that are Division 3. So we're going to try to talk to a couple of the coaches and give them some love this evening. They need some love to help promote their brand. And then we're going to talk some hockey later, because the Hershey Bears are actually our local team. It's only an hour away. We're going to talk some hockey stuff, but we're going to start off the show. We're going to talk USC and Notre Dame. Big game this weekend in South Bend. We were trying to have Tim Pricer from the Irish Illustrated to join us, but he had a family situation that he had to bail out. But we'll get him on another time. But we'll bring in Adam in here. Adam Grossbart from the Orange County Register, who is the beat writer for USC. So thanks for joining us this evening. A big game for you guys. Everybody's off from a bye week, so I guess everybody's fresh and ready to go.
Yeah, it seems that way. USC hasn't had to deal with too many injuries this year, just a couple, but no one just kind of letting all the guys, heal up after 6 games into the year.
Yeah, Adam, I got to tell you, this USC team, 1 week they win, they're just flip-flopping wins and losses.
Yeah. What
is the atmosphere like about consistency in that message? Has it been received by the team?
I mean, yes, but it's just this team just has a lot of flaws. They have not a lot of depth. Their top line talent isn't really performing the way you expected them to, other than Drake London this year. So it's just the upheaval that they've gone through and just kind of dealing with all the different, road issue, like, the playing at home and having fans booing the head coach in week 2. It was just, it's been a lot for the team to handle. I think they're receiving the message from Dante Williams, but it's not an overnight fix with the issue that this team has.
Adam, I was surprised, usually the Trojans have some pretty good balance, but this year, 93rd in the country rushing the football. What are you or what aren't you seeing from the big boys up front to open up holes for this Trojan running game?
Well, actually, they're a lot better in the run game than they were last year. I think they just in, 3 of the 6 games, they fell behind really badly and had to abandon the run. But Keontae Ingram has been really, really good. The Texas transfer at running back, he's really explosive. Darwin Barlow starting to get going at as like the backup running back. So they do have the pieces there. It's just 3 games they got blown out, so they totally abandoned the run. And then Washington State, the run wasn't really working. Washington State was doing some stunts up front that confused the USC offensive line, so the blocking wasn't working, and then they fell behind by 14 points, so they went back to the pass. So actually USC is a lot better in the run game this year, but it's just not, they haven't been able to stick with it.
Talk about the head coach search right now. Everybody, you hear everybody's name's been thrown around. Like you hear James Franklin's going to go out there, and then the guy from Cincinnati is going to start building a house out there, and then you got Urban Meyer, who basically doesn't like Jacksonville anymore, and he wants to get out of there quicker than you say hello. But what have you been hearing out there in LA?
Nothing concrete. USC's running a really tight ship when it comes to the search at this point. I can tell you definitively, Urban Meyer's not coming to USC. Like, anyone who thinks so is not paying attention to how USC does business. Like, they have so many controversies all the time surrounding this university. A lot of them that predate the new president and the new athletic director that they're still kind of just cleaning up the mess from. One of the reasons that Clay Helton got to keep his job as long as he did is Clay ran a really tight ship, and he made sure that there were no, major controversies off the field with that team. The biggest thing you could pin on him was just the team underperformed, which, compared to a lot of other programs, that's, pretty admirable. Urban Meyer does not run programs that way. He doesn't run himself that way, as we saw a couple weeks ago when he was leaving Ohio, or not leaving Ohio, I guess I should say. That's never going to happen. James Franklin's interesting. I think it was definitely good news for USC that Penn State lost to Iowa, and kind of put Penn State on the outside looking in at the playoff conversation, because you're not going to leave a playoff team in December for a new job. Like, that's just not going to happen. So I think if USC wants to go to that direction, that's an interesting one. Fickle from Cincinnati is another interesting one. Obviously, Mike Bone is the AD at USC, has experience with Fickle, having hired him at Cincinnati. Whether that means Fickle's ready to leave the Midwest, who knows? Everything else is just speculation at this point, though. I see another name that's getting thrown around a lot right now is Dave Aranda from Baylor. Which I think is a really interesting candidate. Just he's done a great job at Baylor, and he's a defensive-minded coach, and he is a big-time he's a Southern California kid from Redlands. So I think that would be a really interesting candidate, but, everything's just speculation at this point.
Hey, what about Ogeron? He got fired or he's there until the end of the year at LSU, and he was there before Helton, right?
Yeah, Orgeron's also a defendant in a Title IX investigation right now, right?
Yikes. I don't want to be under investigation. Adam's going to call me out. Hey, listen, you got that thing going on. Yeah, Adam, it should be a good one, buddy. But can the Trojans, stop the Notre Dame running game?
It's a good question. I mean, they've been gassed. Like, Utah beat them up. Oregon State ran for something like 230 yards on the ground. Like, it's going to be really tough. They're going to need Drake Jackson to have a big game on the edge, but they're really going to need the linebackers to step up, which is not something that we have seen so far this season. It's been tough, especially if Notre Dame starts running, some outside runs or jet sweeps or screens. Just USC is so susceptible to those outside run plays or short passing plays that, Notre Dame could really get the ball moving in a hurry if USC's not careful.
Yeah, this is the last time you guys haven't faced Notre Dame in 2 years. It feels like it's been like 9 years because of the COVID-19 last year, But you guys have to go to South Bend twice in this year and next year, and then it's back to LA or something like that. Or how's the schedule now?
Dude, I can barely think to Saturday at this point in this season. I have no idea what the 2023 schedule looks like. I think Notre Dame is coming back though.
Okay.
I think so, because I think next year USC only has 4 road games, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But I could very well be remembering incorrectly.
Hey, we don't know what's going on in 2022 anyway, so yeah. What is your prediction for this weekend's game? It's going to be on NBC 7:30. What is your prediction?
I think Notre Dame wins. I think the spread's around a touchdown. I think Notre Dame will cover. I don't have an exact score yet. I'll look a little closer at that tomorrow, but I just don't think USC has the weapons. That said, nothing would make more sense in this USC season in which nothing makes sense for USC to somehow beat Notre Dame. It would be a big one for them. It would suddenly make making a bowl game a lot more realistic, but I just have trouble believing that this team can beat Notre Dame, even given Notre Dame's flaws.
Yeah. Hey, if they can beat Notre Dame, I guess he keeps the job because he'll be gone in LA besides the Dodgers. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but
so to be continued on that, Adam.
Continue to see that. Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming on, and enjoy the rest of your week out there, and enjoy. Hopefully, you guys have a great game on Saturday.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya. All right, that's Adam Grossbahn from the Oceans Orange County Register. So yeah, it's pretty interesting with USC. There's a lot of names. I feel like with Ogeron getting fired, I feel like everybody wants Urban Meyer. Because but now we know in USC they don't want that trash out there.
Right. It's gonna be an interesting see how things play out. Herbie, we were brought up in the golden years. It seems like when USC was always contending for a national championship. So who can bring them back to that kind of national recognition? Certainly a big name coach would help it in recruiting.
Right, exactly. Well, I do have a flashback. We remember this game. We remember the Bush push. With Liner pushing,
of course,
Reggie Bush, and everybody in Notre Dame wants to start, blowing people up because, they didn't like what Troy Weiss was doing. So here it is. Look at that. That's this is old school NBC. You make the call here.
All right, Leinart under center. He looks like he stopped it. Bush pushes him in the end zone. Touchdown, Trojans.
Exactly. But the funny thing is the Bush push. I was talking to a friend of mine. He doesn't even watch this game because he's really upset still about the game. I'm like, dude, it's not George. It's one of my other friends. And I was like, dude, get over it, man. Yeah, but I can't watch Game 7 of the 2006 NLCS between the Cardinals and Mets because of Molina hitting that home run in the top of the ninth.
Oh, that was Benji Molina, huh? Herbie?
Yeah. No, Yachty. Yachty Molina.
Oh, Yachty.
Yeah.
There was a Benji, though, too, right?
Yeah. Benji was in Tampa.
Okay, and he was with a few other clubs too.
Yeah, but that was
what's up, Herbie?
Yeah, so that's one of those games that everybody knows about. It's fascinating. So
who do your Seminoles play this week, Herbie?
We play UMass.
I think you're good with the. I think you can unload the gun this week, Herbie.
Hey, did you like the last couple weeks? I got good theme music.
I was on pins and needles to see who you guys were playing.
And then next week we have to go to Clemson and take on Clemson.
I'm really interested to see. That's more of the interesting games on the board. Pitt and Clemson. I'm looking forward to getting into that game a little later in the show.
Exactly. I have a chance. I had a couple. I had a chance to talk to some Notre Dame players yesterday. Kyle Hamilton is one of the safeties for Notre Dame, and I asked him about what does it mean playing this rivalry game again because they haven't played it in 2 years. And then Howard Cross, the third, is Howard Cross, the tight end from the New York Football Giants. So I asked Howard Cross the third about what did you know about rivalries because of his dad and his grandfather playing with the New York Giants. So here's the two interviews.
Chris Heidel, go ahead.
Hey, Howard, thanks for taking my question today. Your father played in the NFL, and you had another family member player in the NFL. They played in a lot of rivalry games over the years. What did they teach you about their rivalry games between the Giants and Cowboys and Redskins to help you get ready for USC?
Just obviously a rivalry game is a new atmosphere. It's bigger. Everybody's excited, fans and players included. But just the biggest thing is to calm down, do what you've been doing for how many games you've been playing. It's not different. Do what you've been taught, do what you know you can do, and just go get production.
Thanks, Howard.
Yeah.
Nice, Herbie. Nice.
Yeah. And then I talked to Kyle Hamilton. Let me play his interview, and I asked him about playing in this rivalry.
Chris Heidel, go right ahead.
Hey, Kyle, thanks for taking my question. Chris Heidel from Herbison Radio in Baltimore. What was it like having this game back on the schedule? Because I know last year with the COVID and all that stuff, it was one of those things that was taken off. What was it like having it back on the schedule?
Right. We're definitely blessed to be able to play USC again. I mean, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, college football rivalry in the country. And get to play them at home twice and not have to go out to Cali, have them come here. And it's supposed to be a little cold on Saturday. So get to play them in that environment. I think it'll be really good for everybody. And the guys last year haven't been able to experience the rivalry, and the guys this year have been looking forward to it. And that's the reason they came here, is playing big games like that. So, I mean, no matter what the two teams are ranked, what everybody outside is saying, we know it's going to be a good game because it always is. And, I mean, they're going to bring their A game, and we are too. So it should be a really good game, and I think it'll be a really cool experience for everybody on the team.
Austin, do you have one or two?
Yeah, pretty much. That's true. When you miss a rivalry game, you're allowed to have it back on.
Oh, absolutely. What do you always say, Herbie? You don't know what you got till it's gone, right?
Right.
Well, with all this conference realignment, the teams moving to the SEC in a couple of years, all this stuff, it's great to have some good old college football rivalries.
Exactly. You need these old rivalries to get people back to watching TV and getting the ratings up and everybody, enjoying it. You got to. That's what we Americans love to watch, rivalries.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So did you watch?
Go ahead, Herbie. I'm sorry.
Did you watch some college football last weekend? Any games stand out to you?
Oh, a ton of games. I got to tell you something, Herbie. Syracuse, I just love how they battle. That Evan Turner is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I think he's a first-round draft pick. I mean, he runs the football, and we always like Dino Babers. I'm happy for Syracuse football right now, Herbie. They are playing so hard for their coach.
Exactly, they are. They're playing hard, and the funny thing I found out, I talked to Sean today because he's actually from my neck of the woods, Owings Mills, Maryland. I didn't realize that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I talked to him on the phone for 3 minutes before class.
Nice. Can we play it?
Yeah, I have it. Let me play it. Let me play something about Clemson because did you watch the Clemson game? They did that fake.
Oh yeah.
Remember that fake punt? Do you remember the fake punt back in the ACC championship game, the one against North Carolina? That the punt was completely bad, and Dabo went completely bonkers after the game. Saying
I remember it happened, but I don't remember everything.
All right, so here's the play. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, I hit the wrong one. Where is it? Oh, here's the play from the game from Syracuse against Clemson.
I'm sorry, Vixen.
They did see it. He did a better job than his punter.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, nice throw. But I found out from our good friend Trevor Groves from CUTigers.com that the punter used to be a quarterback in high school.
Dabo knows what he's doing. But, what about these Clemson Tigers, Herbie? They're they're a shell of what they once were.
Right, exactly. But I talked to Dabo afterwards and asked him this question about the fake punt, and he loved this question. The fake punt.
Say that again?
Yeah, play
again?
90. Yeah, play 97. The fake punt to in the late second quarter. Yeah, you haven't done that since the ACC championship game, like against North Carolina, right?
No. That was not a fake punt. Let's make sure we correct that. That was not a fake punt. That was just a punter that took off on his own. So wherever old Teasdall is, if he's hearing that, no. That was not a fake punt. That was a punter that lost his mind in a game. So long live my man Teasdall. Shout out to him. But we faked the punt on Syracuse last year. It was a keeper with Spires, but it was a big play for us tonight.
He loved that question. He smiled after that one.
Oh my gosh, Herbie, what's up, buddy? I can't believe it, man. That was a great question. He was smiling big time.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking about that because I was watching it with Nicole, and her and I were like, I was like, wait a minute, I haven't seen this since the North Carolina game years ago. So speaking of that, let's bring in Raphael Haynes from the 3-point conversion, our good friends down there in Atlanta. We haven't had him on since beginning of the football season. So, Raphael, thanks for joining us. How's everything down in Atlanta? I guess Georgia's number one, and I guess Georgia Tech is looking to get back on the winning ways.
Yeah, things are usual, as usual as it could get. So, yeah. But, hey, it's okay, though. Like I said, I'm in the city with Georgia Tech, but there's so many Georgia fans here. So,
Raphael, talk about the ACC and the parity this year. I mean, normally we go to ACC Media Day and it's just like all about Clemson, who's going to face Clemson. And to be honest with you, I was like that again this year. But how great is it that this division is wide open this year?
Is it great or is it just –
I think parity's good for the game, brother.
Parity is good. It is. But it's not good when the top team comes down and now everybody else is eye level with them. I could see if you saw a team now. A few teams have, played better this year, but it's not like teams have ascended up to Clemson's level. Just Clemson came down to everybody else's level. So, but yeah, it is good though as far as for the conference. You want to see parity. You want every game to be good. You don't want it to be with Clemson playing and saying, "Oh, it's going to be a blowout." No, you don't want that. But it is good to have parity, and now it makes for the ACC championship more interesting, doesn't it?
Oh, I totally agree. Now it's going to be very interesting. Who's going to go to Charlotte now? Yeah, but Clemson's technically still in the hunt of it. And then over on the coastal side, you got Pittsburgh who's 5-1, and they have to go get past this weekend's game against Clemson's kind of doesn't affect the coastal division. I mean, it's just it's a in-cross game, whatever it is. But next week when they play Miami, that might be that. It might be that in Miami and North Carolina, the next two games, that could be if their ticket to go to Charlotte.
Yeah, that's going to be pivotal. And thinking about North Carolina, North Carolina was a team that everybody was looking forward to watching. Like you said, I remember being at the kickoff, and everybody was talking about North Carolina. Is this the year that they ascend? And the loss against Georgia Tech was very disappointing. Of course, we see what Clemson is doing with Miami. I think right now, what the ACC is looking for is just that potential star. Like, who do you think is the star of this conference? Who's the SEC? You got so many. Big Ten. You got the quarterback, CJ. I think CJ in Ohio State. Pac-12. You have, but ACC. Who is that guy? Who is that guy right now? Is just that he represents that conference. I don't believe you have one. So. But again, like my man said, but parity is good. It's good, but it's just you want it to be parity where teams are very good. You got multiple teams that are very good.
Raphael, I couldn't agree with you more because I agree because it wasn't as if other teams got better. it's Clemson. I understand that. That being said, we can expect, it's crazy because last year, and I mean, throughout the Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, what have you, what do you see is the problem in Clemson? And what do you see from DJ underneath center? Is it just lack of execution all the way around? Your insights on that, Raphael?
I think now we're starting to get to more than just execution, is confidence. I think at first it was execution. It didn't seem like the coaches, the players were on the same page. I think with you had key injuries last year and people coming back. So I just felt like it was more of just chemistry, coaches and everyone. But then with DJ, it's starting to turn into confidence. Not just with him, just with the coaches as well. I don't feel like the coaches are very confident in him now. Look at the certain plays they're calling. I know you talked about the fake punt, and sure enough, Dabo, they did a fake punt last time, but totally different. I mean, when you're running the ball, it's different. When you're throwing the ball, I don't know. It's more of, hey, this is what we got. This is the only way we could throw the ball right now. And I just feel like it's something going on that we don't know about. It might come up in a 30 for 30 in 20 years from now.
That's classic, man.
But
I love that.
I don't know.
pretty
I don't know what
good,
it is. It's something.
Great?
It's something. But I just feel like the confidence around that program right now is not high at all.
Yeah, I was talking to Gary McDaniels. He does the Clemson Sports News. We had him on the roundtable last week, and I asked about DJ, and he said, "Well, DJ." I said, "Well, the problem is with DJ is he's replacing a great quarterback at Trevor Lawrence, and it's almost like when we were kids growing up watching Montana getting replaced by Steve Young, and it takes a long time for people to realize he's not coming back."
Right.
He's in Jacksonville. He was in London last week. There's no way that Trevor Lawrence is going to come back for one game to bail out Clemson. It's DJ's football. And I think the problem is a lot of people in Clemson are like not used to close games like they used to be back in the days of the early days of the ACC. And, like that documentary of 1990, it was on the ACC network. They're not used to close games. They're used to blowing people out, 72-0. Now it's like, oh, we win by 3. Oh, there must be a problem.
Right. And just to piggyback on that, think about the game, of course, against Notre Dame when DJ came in, had a fabulous game, fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
I think not only the fans are like, all right, we don't have Trevor no more. We're waiting for that Trevor-like experience. I feel like the coaches were on that bandwagon as well. And I don't feel like, just watching it from afar and after watching so many games, maybe they're not calling the plays that fit DJ's, ability. Yes, we've seen him throw for 330-something yards, but it's different when when the other team doesn't have anything to go by. We can't game plan from this guy. We don't know what he does well. But now this season, they had, a certain amount of time to have film. But I think with Clemson, I think Clemson with Dabo and all, I think they feel like, all right, let's try to do the same old plays we were able to do with Watson and with Lawrence. We got lucky. Well, this is not that guy. So now you need to start calling plays. And as of late, we start seeing more quarterback dives, and not quarterback dives to get you 55-yard touchdown. I'm talking to get you 5 yards just to move the chains. But I feel like they were on that bandwagon as well. Okay, he's going to come in and be just like Watson and just like Trevor Lawrence, and it didn't happen.
Right. Well, I did talk to Coach Elliott, Ewan, and Raphael last week after the game, and I asked him about DJ because I like to get the notes from the source of the coach. And here's my interview I had with him when I was home. I wasn't up at Syracuse, so here it is. Talk about DJ's performance tonight. He did a really good 2-minute drill late in the first quarter, in the second half, or the second quarter.
I thought DJ did a good job of taking care of the ball. First and foremost, that's 2 weeks in a row with no turnovers, which is big, gives you an opportunity to win. I thought he put the ball in places where they needed to be, and we just didn't come down with the catches. I can only recall, two throws that I can recall that he missed. He missed a hitch route that hit the ground, and then there was a deep ball down the sideline that we didn't connect the Ross on. But other than that, he put the ball in places for the guys to make catches. I mean, he ran the ball when we needed him to run the ball. Obviously, he had to move a lot in the pocket, and so he wasn't able to get settled on some things from a protection standpoint, which is always tough on a quarterback, especially in some third down situations. Returning guys, loose, not completely loose, but giving up pressure. So overall, I thought DJ, man, he just continues to get better. Obviously, numbers are not necessarily where you want him to be, but at the end of the day, he's managing the game the way we're asking him to do. He got better in giving the guys opportunities to make catches, and we just didn't make the catches for him.
What do you think about that? That's very very interesting. Very good answer from him. Like people don't see that. When you see it on TV, like, oh, he only threw for 114 yards.
Right. Yeah. That's good. That's good to see. At least he has confidence in DJ, and he's definitely rooting for him and putting him in places where DJ can excel. But again, I think the expectations for DJ with the coaching staff, even for DJ, maybe it was pressure. Maybe it was, he put on more pressure than he could handle at the time, because you got big shoes to fill. Again, is this not filling the shoes of Trevor Lawrence? You're talking about Deshaun Watson as well. 2 players back to back. Yeah, winning championship. So that's a big void to fill, and I just feel like the pressure got to him.
Exactly. Well, Raphael, thanks so much for coming on tonight. We'd love to have you on. How's everything with the 3-point conversion? We'll get you on another time. We'll talk more, Braves and everything else down there. So, how's everything going with you guys?
Everything's good, man. We're at the Charlotte Hornets game right now, covering that, and covering the Steven Shakur boxing match, the top rank.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll be covering that. So a lot going on. We still dabbling in everything. So just keeping busy, trying to keep up with you all.
Oh man,
that's great. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you a little more in November when we get close to finding out who's going to go to Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you.
Take care, Raphael. Good to see you as always, my friend. Always.
All right.
Good guest. He's always a good guest. You know?
I was
so
thinking
well
about him the other
too, Herbie.
I was thinking about him the other day. I was like, let me get him on. I haven't had him on since August. Let's see if we can get him on. And it was great. He's a good. Those guys do a great job, and and they do everything like we try to do. So I guess we're all. Let's turn the page a little bit. We're gonna have a little fun here. I decided over the week, we need to show people the other side of sports. There's a lot of people like you and I. We sit Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon and go, our fantasy teams ain't working. We stink.
Yeah.
Exactly. I won by 2 this week because the Bills defense destroyed the other guy. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey, I'm 4-1. What's your record, Herbie?
I'm actually 4-2.
I'm actually 5-1. That's right.
Oh, now you're going to just add one just because.
I know, right? What do I have, a bye week already? Yeah,
bye week already.
Oh,
so
4-2.
Clemson Tom. This guy is a true fan. There's a lot of fans out there, like me, a gung ho Met fan to the point since I was a kid, and everybody thinks I'm a. I am a Met fan because I have what? I'm looking in my closet. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 5 Met jerseys. Yeah. So, that's a fan. This guy's been a fan for a long time about Clemson. Let's bring in Clemson Tom.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
You got me quick on there. I was reading text messages. They're like,
okay. Sorry about that. We didn't mean to scare you.
Oh, no, that's cool, man.
Thanks for coming on. Talk about who are you? Because I was I saw you on Twitter. And I'm like, this guy Clemson Time. This guy might be something cool to have on. A little, like number one fan. So explain to folks, who are you?
I've been around for a while. Back in the day, I did YouTube videos and was on SportsTalk radio quite a bit. Had a show very similar to you guys, and just kind of life took off. Wife, 2 kids, 3 dogs, and kind of calmed down. But I guess my claim to fame would definitely be the YouTube videos that I had. I had prank call coaches. You name it. Ran on Auburn's field and was like, Clemson owns the field. Auburn fans were all up in arms. It was pretty hilarious. My personal favorite one was I found an Apalachicola horse that looked just like Renegade for Florida State. And I told, like, on the video, I was like, yes, I stole your horse. I'm taking it up to Clemson where you can live in a better life. And I was, I'm right down the hill, and I was talking to the horse in the video. It was funny stuff. It was obviously, for fun, but you always get those fans that kind of take it a little too far. But we had some fun with it there for a while. I think I did maybe 5 years of YouTube and just kind of took off from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big Florida State fan. It's okay. You can take Renegade for the day. It's all right. Yeah, we'll just get a new horse. We got tons of them down there. But let's talk about that whole situation with Florida State and Clemson. I was reading the guest notes for next week. It's like we haven't played since 2019 because of somebody gave up. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you guys definitely used COVID as an excuse last year.
Hey, we needed it. We needed it because we stink.
Oh, we talk about a rebuilding year, Clemson, Tom. Yeah, tell me, buddy, when you obviously know this program, this team. Look at this. Oh, this is great stuff right here, Herbie. What are you playing here?
He was actually in South Carolina talking to the Gamecock guy and like literally going and asking him questions, and it was really cool video. I was watching. I had to put it on no sound because it's kind of I don't want people to I want them to go to YouTube and watch it. But you have cool videos on YouTube. It's like
I took a lot of them down. I kind of wanted there for a while. I kind of wanted to just disappear per se, and my job was kind of going in a more professional direction and. And the YouTube videos and me are two completely different people. That's YouTube is more, laughs, giggles. It's almost a character. One of my close friends said it's like a WWE character. Once the sound breaks, you walk out. That was Clemson Tom. But it was a real guy behind the scenes. Job, mortgage, house, kids, and I would run into people at Publix, and they'd be like, "Man, I hate you so bad." I'm like, "Bro, I'm just trying to get some groceries." And I guess they kind of realized like it's kind of it's kind of an act. You just kind of kick the fandom up, and I would say things just to rile people up on purpose. So I the videos are still there. They're just marked as private, but they were a lot of fun to make. The prank calls were. I was doing prank calls as soon as I realized you could make a fake phone call when I was 8 years old. And, you'd get people under the table, DMing you like, hey, I got, this coach's phone number, give him a call. And here I am calling Frank Beamer, telling him that I, stole his lunch pail. And, it was like a ransom for it, I think I said. Everyone's favorite is when I prank called Georgia Tech's library. It was like naming off fake books to see if they had it. It was like, how to stop a fast receiver when we had Sammy Watkins, or how to actually win a football game. And the lady, you can hear her typing in the background. She's like, we don't have that one. And I was like, it's under the author, last name is Watkins, first name Sammy. And and you have a book from Taj Boyd, like author, last name Boyd, first name Taj. It's how to throw, how to successfully do, an offense. It's just like random stuff. But the funny part was you could hear the lady typing, and she was like, "We don't have that one." And that was pretty hilarious.
That's awesome.
Clemson, Tom, when you look at the team this year, number one thing that stands out to you, obviously embodying the whole execution or lack thereof, what stands out to you the most?
The wide receiver play. Offensive line is going to be what it is. It's the wide receiver play for me. We do a lot of screens, a lot of bubble screens, and some running plays that kind of require them to block. I don't think they got the memo that they got to block. It's kind of disheartening a little bit. I don't know if it's more of they don't know what's really going on, different things like that. But, it kind of makes me mad a little bit because everybody out there is a 5-star talent. But for some reason, we just can't put it together. I don't know. It's almost like Hooters. You walk in, it looks like it's supposed to be great. The atmosphere looks wonderful. TVs everywhere. There's talent galore. Yeah. And then when you get a chicken wing, you're like, what? Who made this?
Yeah, man. Right on. Hey, I don't go to Hooters for the food.
Like, it's from the freezer. What the hell is this?
Exactly. Like this is the worst chicken wing I've ever had in my life. But thank you for serving me. You are a 5-star. That's how it is. That's when I look at the TV. Is how I feel.
Yeah. So when did you did you go to Clemson, or did you just grow up like me as a fan of Florida?
Yeah, I've got like family ties there and different things like that. And everyone's, we have some Clemson fans can be very, very uppity. They're like, oh, you never even graduated, never even took a class. I'm like, I never claimed I did. Like, that was never, they're like, you're not a GQ model. Like, I never said I was. Obviously, I'm ugly. It was like they would say stuff, and I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But on my Twitter, you can see a picture. I got a doctorate in football.
That worked. Yeah, I saw that.
So, like, now I'm an alumnus. But I always throw it back in their face because every time you meet or I've ran into some of these fans like at games, and they're like the biggest nerds ever. And then I'm looking at these cats, and I'm like, how did I let you like upset me, on a Thursday night at 7 p.m. while I'm on my couch because you're trying to troll me? And so I just always throw it back in their face. I'm like, oh yeah, I've guest spoke at classes at Clemson. I've guest spoke at alumni events. Who are you to tell me I can't be a true Tiger?
Nice. I love that. Yeah.
And but some of the guys are just nerds. Like when you meet them, you're like, this, Bradley over here upset me. Like, how did I let this guy go back to coding some, online games, pal? Wow. I'm over here drinking a beer, watching football. Like, leave me alone.
Well, Clint. My brother Will is a big Miami Hurricane fan, so he sounds almost like you. I get trolled by him every weekend. It's like he called me. I was like, dude, you guys suck. So now they're sucking really bad. I'm like, so how's life there? He goes, I haven't watched the game in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay.
Ask him how the bandwagon is. I thought the U was back. Well, actually, the U is back to being mediocre as they always were. Next time you talk to them, throw up the U and be like, yo, it's almost like the horns down.
Well, next weekend I'm supposed to go up to see them in Pittsburgh, and I said to my brother, I said, "Do you want to come with me? Because I have a pass." He goes, "I might kill the coach." I'm like, "Excuse me."
I have a friend of mine that's like a diehard Hurricane fan, and he's like, "I'm never watching the game until they fire Manny." I'm like, "Are you going to be okay?" Yeah, it's insane. I feel bad for him, but what did you expect?
How crazy do you get through Clemson games? Because I know my brother used to throw controllers. He punched walls. He pushed my brother down the stairs by accident, because he got angry. Yeah, what's the weirdest? When you got angry? What do you do? You just turn off the TV and say, "Wife, don't talk to me. I'm going to."
No, I mean, when I was like 20, in my early 20s, like if they lost, and you just weren't talking to me for about a day. Like, I just had an attitude. I don't recall ever punching anything. But I mean, there were some college nights that just got a little crazy. I don't recall doing anything crazy. I mean, as an adult, no. I mean, but when we're early 20s as guys, and you throw in some alcohol with testosterone level being at all-time high, we're kind of like, it's almost
right.
That didn't really happen. You're dealing with a different person. But as an adult Clemson fan, I mean, I've been mad. I'll cuss. Maybe throw a pillow down or something. But as I've gotten older, like when they lose, I'm just like, man, like I get mad for like 5 minutes, but not like mad, just mad. It's the same mad that I get when like the electricity bill got high. Okay. How was it $300 this month? And my wife's like, baby, it's summertime. The AC's running. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then you're like, well, gotta pay it. And then you move on with your life. And then so now I'm like, what do you mean? How do we lose? And they're like, that got me like, oh, well, I got to go hit the golf course.
Is your Clemson, Tom, is your wife a Clemson fan? Is she a football fan too? Or is she just let you do your own thing?
Yeah, she's a Gator fan. But she's not diehard at all. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so we go to Clemson games. We have season tickets. We have a house at Clemson. So she wasn't diehard so much as that was her team. But, Clemson plays, she'll throw on, a Clemson shirt. I have like Florida shirts I have when they're playing Tennessee or something. As long as Clemson isn't playing, I will support her team. And I don't have a problem with Florida. Just living here, it's not bad. I mean, it is what it is. We hate the same teams. The colors are similar. Yeah, it is what it is. Thankfully, they've never played. But no, we're more Tigers than anything else.
That's cool. Yeah, I have a brother, Matt, who's a big I have two brothers, and one of them's a Gator fan. So I had to deal with that, plus the Miami stuff for my entire life. So,
oh, man.
Yeah. Easter Sunday one time was pretty interesting. My mother, we're trash talking each other at the table. My mother goes, "Not on the holy day."
You gotta have a break sometimes, man.
So I tell that story all the time. We can't talk to each other during the off season because one's mouthing off the other one, and the other one's yapping about how great this team is. I'm like, really?
Yeah. I have a friend that's like a diehard Tennessee fan, and like Saturday, once both of our teams are done, we're like, I can't talk to you all week, and this is when we played, and it's like, whatever, man. Like I hate you, too. And like ran throughout the week, like 3:30 Sunday, we'll whoop your ass, and it's just trash talking all week, and then we don't talk. Like, well, I mean, it'd be like 2:00 in the morning, like wake up, use the bathroom, and I'll be like, Tennessee sucks. And like wakes, just different things like that. That's always fun. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's like one of my best friends. But
awesome.
That happens when we played. I got a buddy that's a big Georgia fan, so kind of the same thing. But we just have fun with that. If you can't have fun with it, what can you do?
Yeah. Well, Clemson, Tom, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. We love having you on again. We'll talk more about this stuff down the road. We'll have some fun in November when we get ready to close to ACC title games.
Yeah, if we make it, I don't even know if we'll be there.
Yeah, hopefully, but
hopefully, I don't. Every time I watch a game, I was listening to you guys earlier. It was fun beating everybody, and not to say it got old, but it kind of brings back the excitement. Like we're playing Pitt, I have to watch it. And I'm going to be like this, I can't walk away and be like, "Oh, what's the score? 42-9." Now I've got to be like every play. I'm fully invested now, so it brings another perspective to it. I would much rather win 42-9, but it's just a new year. It's a new something. It's not life or death. It's just a football game.
That's cool. Well, good luck this weekend. Hopefully you guys knock off Pitt, and then you might see Pitt again in a month or so.
Not 10-4.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, see ya. A little fun there. We had to have a little fun on the show. That was great.
Oh yeah, Clemson Tom watch.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like I was the only nut job yelling at the TV,
No.
So let's folks. We're going to do next couple of weeks. We're going to try to highlight some other stuff here because I'm in the state of Maryland. Ewan's down in the beautiful state of Florida. And we're trying to. Everybody knows about different schools. Different. If you think Florida, you think Florida State, Miami, and Florida, and now Florida Atlantic and all that stuff. Here in Maryland, you got Maryland, Morgan State, and Towson. Well, there's other schools around here like McDaniel College, who used to be called Westminster College, Western Maryland College. Coach Demarius White is joining us, the head coach of the football team. So, Coach White, thanks for joining us. I like it behind you. You're big time. That's good. I like that. that's you.
Hey, we need that behind our scenes.
Yeah. Big time.
Well, how you guys doing, man?
Good. How you doing, Coach White?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I just was, because I'm living here in the state of Maryland my whole life, and a lot of people don't realize, since 1987, they don't realize there's other football programs in this state instead of Towson and Morgan and that team down in College Park, and you got you guys out there in Western Maryland and Westminster, it's like, It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So talk about your team so far. It doesn't look like you guys are doing really well. It's just, I guess it's growing pains.
Yeah. I think you alluded to it. So far this season, it's been a little bit of both a roller coaster ride, some good, some bad, some ugly. My joke with the staff every day is like, what's the bad news Bears bringing to the table today? And so, but just a great bunch to be around, an extremely young football program. We do have some older individuals that was granted the opportunity to come back because of COVID and the entire pandemic ordeal where they were granted an extra year to play. But overall in our program, it's a young bunch that's working hard. And I think every single day we're learning and growing and just going through those pains right now. We have a tough task this up and coming weekend against a team that's ranked top 20 in the country at Susquehanna. And so we're going to put our best foot forward and, continue to press forward.
Coach, Susquehanna, you mentioned they're ranked number 19. What do they do so well? And give us some points of emphasis that you're pointing out to your team this week in preparation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Coach Perkovich has done a tremendous job with this program. And they are extremely sound in all three phases. In the kicking game, extremely explosive. And if you're not careful in the kicking game at times, especially like punt in particular, they'll give you some pressures and make life really long for you in the special teams world. So they do a great job there, right? With their return people, they're very explosive with the ball in their hands. So you have to play every single snap going against these guys. Defensively, I think that they are at the top of the Centennial Conference, which we play in, one of the better conferences in Division III football. And but year in and year out, they do a great job defensively. Send a ton of different pressures. I think their base is an odd front, a 3-4 look with a lot of different coverages they can play behind their pressures. And offensively, they're led by their quarterback, right? Their quarterback is a guy that's extremely mobile. When I mean mobile, he's not necessarily scrambling around everywhere, but he can extend plays, right? And in all levels of our game, from the pros all the way to probably Little League, I think you can have a lot of success when your quarterback can extend plays. And he does that really, really well in their RPO spread offense. So it's going to be a tough task. It really is, but we're up for the challenge.
Right on. Coach, speaking of quarterbacks, your quarterback threw for over 200 yards first time last week, couple of touchdowns. What have you seen from John Allen Ferguson throughout the season, and where is he at? Where would you like him to improve on?
Yeah, I think from week one to now, as we're entering the seventh game of the season, I think that John has each week has taken on a new role and a new task and set new goals for himself each and every week. And you can see the improvement where he's becoming more and more confident in his abilities. John has a tremendous command of our offense and what we're trying to get done. You can see that this past weekend with his ability to be able to extend plays and, just not get rattled, right? He's a tough kid. He's a kid that's from, went to Damascus High School. So they have that long tradition out that way. And he shows that he's a blue collar guy, comes to work every single day, extremely intelligent on and off the field. He shows that in the classroom, and you can see the improvement every week with his play. For me, in my message with him, I meet with him, first thing every week prior to our preparation for our next opponent. My biggest emphasis for him is taking care of the ball a little bit better. This week. And that was one of the things that hindered us from being successful this past weekend was turnovers, right? And I think we ended up with like 7 turnovers this past weekend in a rainy afternoon against Ursinus, but we were able to turn them over 4 times, but it was the battle of turnovers, and that's where we came up short.
Yeah, talk about you have a wide receiver from my neck of the woods, up there in Bel Air from C. Milton Wright. I'm a Bel Air alumni. We don't like C. Milton Wright. We call him C. Milton Wrong and everything else, with the rivalry stuff. Yeah, but Hunter Seeger, I think I'm saying his last name right, but he caught 6 passes for 91 yards. Is he that go-to guy that what's his name needs every game?
Yeah, and it's starting to shape up that way, right? Where, each and every week, Hunter is gaining more and more confidence in his abilities. And I think that Hunter's best football is out in front of him. He's still raw to the position, still learning his craft each and every day. And he showed some flashes this past weekend where he's made some really great catches, not only in the catching game. He's a very physical blocker, right? And we really pride ourselves on being able to establish the run game and set a tone of physicality at all phases of everything that we're trying to do. And he's an extension sometimes of the tight ends and the offensive line. And he's a bigger guy in stature. Hunter's probably close to 6'4", almost 6'5", like 215, 220. So he's still learning his body as a young football player, but I think his future is really, really bright, and we're going to need big things out of him this up and coming weekend.
That's true. So talk about this game coming up. Like you said, Susquehanna is a pretty good team and all that. So just talk about the league, and you were talking about the league as in the beginning. I mean, how great is this league in Division III, and what is Division III? Because I'm trying to remember, because I used to do Bowie State football. I don't know if they're 2 or 3 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So explain to folks what's the difference.
Right. Well, first, for Division III, we're non-scholarship programs, and so it's the epitome of young men and I just should say, just young athletes, right, women and men, that first and foremost they just love their craft, and they understand that they are the epitome and the embodiment of the cliche phrase of student athlete, right? And they take care of their academics first and foremost. And when you think of Division III institutions, they're academic institutions first. And here at McDaniel, we are a great reflection of a strong academic institution, which I am very, very blessed to be a part of and just serve a small role here on campus in that realm. So it's a balance of both, being able to take care of your scholastics and your sport. And, but just like anything else, right, to be good at something, you have to really invest yourself and care about your craft. And you see that with our athletes. Now, we're blessed to be in the Centennial Conference. I think that pound for pound, without, being disrespectful to anyone out there, I think the Centennial Conference is one of the best conferences in football in all of our nation in Division III. We year in and year out, we have teams that are in the top 10 in the nation. You think about 2019, right? We didn't have the chance to play 2020, but 2019, we had 2 teams from our conference in the national playoffs. One team went to the semifinals, Muhlenberg. So year in and year out, we always have 1 or 2 teams in the national playoffs. And then 2018, Johns Hopkins, they were in the semifinals, basically 1 game away. Right. And if my memory is serving me correctly, in that Hopkins game in the semis, I think they were literally 1 drive away from playing for the national championship. And it's week in and week out. Right. It's no week off in our conference. And so, that's a selling point there for all of us, where if you aren't blessed and aren't able to receive a athletic scholarship out there, why not play in a conference where athletics, in this conversation, football is extremely important, but you're going to get a quality education along with being able to have those opportunities to be able to put your talents out there, right? And you're building your future as you go. So, that's probably the major points, right? The difference between the different levels is we're non-scholarship. The athletes are doing it for the love of the game, the love of the sport, but it's still hard work and dedication to what they're doing.
That's true. Well, Coach White, thanks so much for coming on tonight, and enjoy and good luck this weekend. Hope the weather is nice and cool, and now you don't have to deal with the weather and the rain and all that stuff. It's going to be nice fall weather here. So good luck, and we'll try to get you on down the road.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thank you for having me on, and I appreciate you saying hopefully that we have better weather this up and coming weekend, because it was pretty nasty last week. I'm still drying out my socks from last weekend.
Get him, Coach White.
It was pretty out there.
Thank you so much.
You guys take care of yourselves. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay.
So that's the head coach of McDaniel's College here.
You want to take 5, Herbie? I got it.
You got it? Okay. When I gotta wait for Coach Fitzgerald to log in, because I have the power on this side, so I gotta wait for him to log in.
Okay.
So.
Well, why don't you go? He can wait for a few minutes. Go ahead.
Okay.
And I'll just use the bathroom. That's all. Just shoot him a text, or he'll wait.
Okay. Well, I don't have his text message. That's the thing.
All right. We'll be all right. Go ahead.
All right. How about this? We'll play. Let's see. What do we got here? We'll play an interview here real quick. I got an interview with Josh Pascal from Kentucky, who's from PG County, and they played Georgia last week. So let me play that real quick. Hey, Josh, it's Chris Heidel from Hermanson Radio in Baltimore. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, sorry for the tough loss. I was watching it today. What did you learn from playing against the Georgia team that might help you the rest of the season in this tough SEC East, pretty much?
Just to stand firm in adversity. I feel like as a team, that's something that we face. They're a great team. I want to give all the credit to them. They came out there, they played hard. And against the number one team, you can't make mistakes. And that's what we have to learn from that, is how to respond to those mistakes that we make and to limit those as well.
All right, folks. That's Coach. That's Josh Pascal from Kentucky. You and Coach Fitzgerald's here.
Yeah, I'm coming. Hold on.
Okay. Let me wait for him to get back on. We'll get him off the feed here. Let me bring in Coach here because Coach is waiting here. Hey, Coach Fitzgerald, how you doing?
How are you, Chris?
Not bad. I'm waiting for my partner to come back. I don't know what he's doing. So, how are you this evening? Thanks for coming on.
No, I appreciate y'all having me. I'm good. We got off the practice field about an hour ago. Things are running smoothly.
That's cool. Awesome. Here's Ewan, my partner. Let me. I got to take care of something. He will help you during this whole interview. Okay, go ahead, Ewan.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. Thanks so much for joining us. How would you assess your season thus far, approaching the midway point? Talk to me about your squad.
Yeah, we're 6-1 in a three-way tie for first place. Ewan, we have a nice blend of older players, mature players, seniors and graduate transfers, and we blended it in with a young group that's pretty talented and going to be really good down the stretch.
Nice. What as you look on film with McDaniel, what challenges do they present to your ball club this weekend?
We're not playing McDaniel. We have Fairmont State on Saturday.
Boy, I got to get on.
We're Division II. Hey, Ewan, I wish we were playing McDaniel Saturday.
No, I hear you, Coach. Tell me, you know what? I'm always interested. We primarily cover the ACC, but how do you blend incoming freshmen with who want to make an impact, but they don't want to step on seniors' toes? How do you blend upper and lower classmen?
Yeah, if you have character kids, if you have high character kids in your football program, your older guys will lead the young guys. We even go as far as we have 3.5 weeks of camp before we play our first game. We always put juniors and seniors in the dorm with the first year players. So they're roommates with the first year players for that first couple of weeks.
Nice.
That way they've got a mentor. Without us doing a buddy program or a mentorship program, we do that naturally just by them being roommates. They become friends with that guy. They can ask him questions, get good advice, all the way down to we try to match them with people in their same major so that they don't feel, how do I say this, that they don't feel awkward asking them about professors and about classes down the road. Now, on you're talking about not stepping on the seniors' toes. Go back to the Bear Bryant stuff in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't bite his pups, they're not going to bite his big dogs. any freshman that's afraid to step on somebody's toes probably not going to be very good.
Right. Coach, I'm always interested in, and of course, last year was unprecedented because of the pandemic, but recruiting in an age like this, how did it affect your recruiting last year? And talk to me about have you gotten some good an incoming class for next year?
Yeah, we on the pandemic, what it did was take away those young men's senior film. So you have to do some things. You have to evaluate off of junior film, and then you have to project a little more than you had to in the past. And we did have some seniors that had 3 or 4 games, but we signed 4, 5, 6 guys last year that had no senior film. Ewan and Chris, we go a lot off of DNA here. We recruit kids from good homes with strong fathers. We like DNA in this football program. Kids that are winners. That they won on the football field and basketball court and baseball field in high school, and they're going to continue to win in college. And then we like kids whose parents have been winning.
Wow, Coach. My last question. First of all, off to a great start this year, but tell me about your coaching aspirations. Obviously, you found a good fit where you are, but expand on that a little bit, if you would.
You're about the 8th person in the last 2 weeks to ask me where I'm going to be next year. If they'll have me, I'll be at Frostburg State next year.
Okay.
I haven't done this, but I know I have my mentors. The guys that I bounce ideas off and the guys that I talk to me about not screwing up a good thing. When you found a town and a school and how do you say this, a group of players that believe in you and stand behind you, you kind of got to watch how you run out on them. So this college coaching trail is lined with coaches that thought the grass was greener on the other side just to get there, and it's not. I'm sitting here thinking about a lot of them right now. Hey, how much would Charlie Strong like to still be in Louisville from 10 years ago?
Exactly. I agree with you. You know, a lot of coaches think it's better, like you said, on the other side. Like, you know, like Jimbo Fisher leaves, Florida State to go to Texas A&M. Yeah, you got a nice contract, but it's all this. But it's like, okay, are you happy where you are, or you should, and he still talks about Florida State all the time. Sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We could sit here and talk about 24 different coaches that have done just that. Bobby Petrino probably wishes he'd have stayed at 5 or 6 of the schools he left. But anyhow, it's just the way things are. It would take my wife and kids and myself, and our coaching staff are pretty vested here, and it would take something special for me to leave. Okay. On here, you and Chris, I had a losing record when they hired me here. Now I had a losing record at maybe the worst school in the country, so we thought we had done a real good job to win 24 games in 5 years there. But we've won 50 games here over the past 5 years. By the end of this season, we'll be close to 55, 56 wins in 5 years. It's real easy math. We win a lot of games here each year, and that's fun. Guys, I think it's special when you walk out on the field every single Saturday in the fall and you have a chance to win, because I've been on the other side when you didn't have a chance to win.
That's true. I agree. Well, I want to ask you about a player. There's a kid who is from Aberdeen. I'm from Hartford County. Running back Josh Maxwell. He did, what type of running back is he? I found some footage of him this year. I guess he had like a 75-yard run, or he gained 75 yards in the game. But what type of running back is he?
Yeah, if you're an Aberdeen fan, if you're a Hertford County guy, I'm going to take you back here a second. Austin Bonzel was an All-American kick and punt returner for us. But Austin Bonzel was a starting returner and the wide receiver when I got here, and he's an Aberdeen guy. Anyway, one of my all-time favorites. Got a chance to see him a couple of weeks ago. But he is the offensive coordinator for one of those local high schools around there right now and doing a nice job. Moving on to Josh. Josh transferred in here this year as a junior. He was at a school, didn't like it, wanted to get closer to home, wanted to come home to Maryland. So he transferred in here this year. He did a nice job for us in our shortened spring season, and he's done a nice job as a reserve for us this fall. Chris, he could and should be the man next fall. He should be the dude at the tailback position for us. And if you know us, we're going to run the ball more than we throw it. We like Josh around here. And to answer your question on what type of – he is a big, strong, good-looking kid. He's got a very high GPA. He's a 3.65 or better GPA, and just a pleasure to be around on the practice field and on game day.
You got another question, or yeah?
I'm good with Coach.
All right, cool. I got one more question to ask you, Coach. It was also about you. Talk about your quarterback. He's from the Shenandoah Valley or around that area, Harrisburg and all that stuff. What does he bring to the table? Let me bring him up here. Graham Walker. I heard him a lot on the. I was watching one of your game films last night. I was like, oh, this guy sounds pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's I'm going to make a long story short. I could talk about Graham for 15, 20 minutes. Graham is from that Loudoun County area, Woodgrove High School, Dulles Airport there in Northern Virginia. And here's the story. My father and I obviously like a lot of football, so we go to the state title games in Virginia, the 3A and 4A state title games, and we're recruiting the quarterback of one of the 3A teams that are playing there today. And we watch the player, and he's a good player. But then after that, my dad says, you want to stay for the 4A game? And I said, yes, I want to stay for it. So we went and grabbed a bite to eat, come back and sit down. And Woodgrove High School comes out with this kid. And the story is this: Woodgrove had won 3 straight road games to get to the state title, underdog 3 straight times.
Wow.
And then they get to the state title. Yes, they're playing Lake Taylor, which is the best team in the state, and they're on the road again. Well, no team in Virginia history had won 4 straight road games to win the state title. They come out. Graham rushes the ball 31 times for 137 yards, and then he threw for 356 yards in the game. And as we're sitting there watching the game, and my dad's, I'm 6 foot even, guys. My father's about 5'8", 5'8 and a half. My dad goes, he's the best player here today. And I said, yeah, but he's too short. And about a quarter later, my dad goes, hey, boy, he goes, it doesn't matter how tall he is. He's a pretty good player. And I said, yeah. I said, but I worry about his height. And then come third quarter, and he's up over 300 and some yards passing. And my dad goes, you're going to make a mistake if you don't take him. And I said, yeah, Pop, you're right. Hey, father knows best.
That's a cool story, Coach.
Father knows best. Now getting into Graham. Graham is a right-handed Tim Tebow. He's a religious young man. Takes care of his body, does the right things. If you want him to jump up on the soapbox and preach to you, he'll do that for you too, just like Tebow. But a lot like Tebow. Here's where Graham has benefited greatly, and everybody wants to. With this pandemic now, you have to look at the positives with the negatives. Okay. We brought Graham in here in 2019 and redshirted him because we had a grad transfer quarterback that was a good player that's now on our coaching staff. So he redshirted in 2019. The NCAA gave him his pandemic year back last year, so he got to play all those games in the spring for free. And now he is now a 20-year-old freshman for us. Going to be a good player. And y'all were asking me about leaving. Hey, you don't leave a school with a quarterback to go to a school that doesn't have one. So
yeah, that much we know.
That's hilarious. That's a quick way to be on the unemployment line, is to take a job at a school that has no quarterback.
Hey, you get that. What's that? Larry Hogan. The Larry Hogan money. Like the unemployment money.
Yeah, I got a picture of me with Larry Hogan if y'all want to see it sometime.
That's cool. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Well, it sounds so great. You're doing a great job out there in Frostburg, and I'm here in Baltimore County. Maybe I should make a trip out there to see you guys, because it seems like you guys are doing a great job out there. And I know Frostburg is a little bit colder right now than we are, with the weather. But hey, it's the fall.
Well, let me tell you this: August, September games are better here because there's no heat, no humidity. It's perfect. Hey, it'll be 70, 75 degrees, no humidity. Now, hey, these late October games, November around here, you want to avoid them a little bit.
It sounds like going up to New England, Maine. I have some coaches up there like, hey, come up in August and September. By the time November, don't even think about coming up here.
I played at James Madison, so I told the players the story this week. We were 7-1, ranked 4th in the country, and our only loss was to Michael Vick and the Virginia Tech team in 1999. We were 7-1. Maine was 1-7, and we went to Maine and they beat us by 20-some.
Jeez.
Yeah. Wow. During the course of the first half, temperature dropped over 35 degrees.
Well, speaking real quick, I want to ask you about JMU, because they've been doing so good with, in the last couple of years. It's good for you being an alumni, getting that warm feeling that they're getting more attention now than they did when, you had Coach Matthews, right?
Yeah, I signed there under Alex Wood, who's currently the wide receivers coach at Delaware and doing a really nice job. And then I finished under Mickey Matthews, and then I was the defensive line coach there in 2002 under Coach Matthews.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, my parents have a house in McCaskiesville, Virginia, so we know.
I know exactly where you're at, Spotswood High School.
Yeah, it's a great place, and I told my mother it's a great time in the fall. JMU down the street, and it's like a pro team. They love their Dukes.
Do your parents have a place up at Massanutten?
Yes, we do.
Gotcha. I'm with you. I'm on it.
Nice, Coach.
If you ever want to go skiing, I'll tell my father you're coming, and you'll just have somebody to talk to for a couple of days.
There you go. He's got to share the place with me.
Yeah, I'll tell him that. All right, Coach. Thank you so much.
Good luck this weekend.
Hey, man. Thank y'all for having me, and best of luck. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Talk to you soon. See ya.
That was good. Good.
Great. That's awesome. It's always good to hear different schools, and how they always grind it out, and they always try to do their best, and they don't get their names in the paper because everybody wants to be Alabama or Miami or LSU. It's like, folks,
I like giving some love to these smaller programs, Herbie. We're on a 2-hour show, so we're about halfway home.
Yeah, we got hockey now, and then we're going to finish up. We're doing hockey now, and then we got Alan Sanders. We're going to talk a little Pitt football a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we got a former Bengal coming on at the end. So
Yeah.
Bengals, Ravens.
I'm hanging in there. My food's in the oven. What's up, buddy?
Okay, so let me go. Hey, if you have to go eat, I understand. I'll take it all in, man. That's what I do. I bring it up to the rear.
I know you do. What happened to George tonight, buddy?
Speaking of George, he has a wedding anniversary tonight, so he got he called me today and he goes, I can't come on because it's my wedding anniversary. I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. We can obviously give you a pass for that.
I
Yeah.
thought you got to pass, Yeah. So let's bring in your old neck of the woods, buddy.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Yeah, the Checkers. Let's bring in TJ Charlotte with us, the voice of the Checkers. They're going to be up here in my neck of the woods this weekend, taking on the Hershey Bears. I guess. Are you going to go around Hershey Park for a couple hours, TJ, to go get some candy and make some like those Halloween wars they're having on Food Network?
Hey guys, how you doing? No, actually, we're home this weekend.
Oh, that's right, you're home.
We're down here in Charlotte. We were up your neck of the woods last weekend. We played Hershey on Saturday and Wilkes-Barre on Sunday. So we'll be right back up that way in November, though. So I might make a trip either to Trogs or go over to Hershey Park or something and hang out there if we got the time.
Nice. We'll talk about the season so far. Like you said, you played the Bears last weekend and everybody kicked off. It seems like you guys have a new affiliate this year. This year, you're not affiliated with the Carolina Hurricanes. You got the Kraken. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. The Kraken is a 1-year only affiliation. They're supposed to have a team in Palm Springs, California, but due to COVID and the availability of supplies and things like that, their arena wasn't quite ready. So they decided to jump on with us. Our main affiliate is actually the Florida Panthers. So we have this dual affiliation thing going on, which of course presents challenges of its own, more so for the coaching staff and for the PR department. Particularly just about guys moving up and moving down and making sure we have enough D-men and enough forwards and enough goalies and not too many of any one of them at any given time. So there's constantly this little bit of a juggle, but it makes us a solid team on the ice because we literally have 2 prospect pools. One of them just had an expansion draft because of one of the brand new teams in the league. We have 2 prospect pools that we can pull from to put the best team out there on the ice. So it works out from a Charlotte Checker fan and organizational standpoint that way.
Yeah, TJ, shamefully, I lived in Charlotte for like 8 years. I always knew about them, but I didn't go and see them. And of course, now that I moved to Florida, here you are, right? It's crazy. But
exactly.
It's nuts because North Carolina, of course, everyone jumps to the Panthers or they think ACC and, obviously Carolina, Duke comes to mind. But you know what? I didn't know we had the Checkers there. And talk about their popularity. Obviously, it's a little easier to become popular when you're good, but talk about how they fit into the city.
Actually, it's funny that you say that because this is the second market that I worked in down south in hockey. And the first one was about 4 or 5 years ago. I was in Mississippi, just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Nobody knew we existed. And we were really only competing with Memphis University and the Memphis Grizzlies. Outside of that, we really didn't have competition. Not like here in Charlotte where you have the Hornets, you have the Panthers, you have Charlotte Speedway, you have the Knights, you have all the colleges in the area. But because of what the Checkers have done in the community with player visits, with mascot visits, with the Checkers Community Foundation, because they've gotten out there and just did so much good stuff in the community, and because it's such a fun time. I mean, hockey, we have that benefit of there's so many people out there that have never been to a hockey game, and when they go to a hockey game, all of a sudden they are pumped and they're hooked. So when you have that kind of sport, when you're doing well in the community, and when you're just a big feature that way, it brings people in the door. And of course, like you said, it doesn't hurt when the team is good, and they're still the defending Calder Cup champions going back to the 18-19 season. COVID canceled the AHL season in 1920. The Checkers did not play in 2021, but the league also didn't hand out the Calder Cup last season either. So we just sent the cup back, I think it's about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, back to the league. So we've had it for years on end, and that certainly helps and draw the attention and make it somewhat more attractive for fans.
So, TJ, did you take it with you on vacation? Did you take it to the beach? Did you take it to
No.
Hey, if he's taking it to the beach, I'm his new best wingman. I'm coming.
Look, everybody, I got to come.
Right.
Hey.
I'm hanging out with
I took a couple photos with it, but that was about it. I didn't touch it. I wasn't part of the staff when they won that, so I won't touch it unless I'm on staff when we win. So if we're able to bring that back home, as we're saying a lot around the office, we need to bring it back home. Then I'll touch it, and then I'll take it to the beach, or maybe take it to my mom's place in Raleigh, or go back home to Pennsylvania and bring it up there. But for now, I've been hands off every time it's been around.
Yeah, Ewan and I actually we did an arena football team years ago. Remember this, Ewan? It was the Baltimore Mariners winning the championship game, and we drank out of their cup.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was so cool. It was like okay, I'm a hockey guy, but not a big hockey fan. But when I was a kid, I felt like when I won a championship in Little League baseball, I was like, oh, I'm going to take my trophy around the house and around everywhere as I go. And I'm thinking I'm going to get this big trophy, like my brother won one. It was just small. And I'm like, I can put this in my suitcase. The heck is this? I'm thinking like, I want a bigger trophy. I want to bring it around and take pictures on the beach with it, Yeah, but
not all of us can be Alexander Ovechkin and win the thing in Vegas and then go on a 4-day bender and just bring it with you everywhere. I don't know if you guys remember those videos.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Oh man,
Wow.
that was incredible. That guy was living his best life.
Yeah.
He was having everybody drinking, and thank God we didn't have COVID-19 issues back then. Because everybody would have been like tested positive for that one.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah, jeez. But anyway, yeah, like Ewan said, you guys are in Charlotte, and you're playing at the old arena that the Hornets used to play in, and they used to have
Bojangles Coliseum, right?
Yeah, and it's right before Ewan used to live. I used to drive past that, and I'm like, oh, it's still there. That's pretty cool.
TJ, we should have came down. Oh man.
Come on down, guys. Anytime you want. We can do the show from up in the crow's nest if you want.
Hey, the ACC championship game is pretty decent this year. We might come down for the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Hey, they're hosting the Big South basketball tournament at Bojangles too. Now we'll be out of town. It's in March. We're up in Providence or something along those lines. But yeah, if you want to swing on through for that too, if you're into Big South basketball.
Yeah, basketball's starting up too. There's college and pros and everything going on. But you're with
TJ,
hockey.
the hockey man. Wow, TJ, it's awesome, man. We are so good in Charlotte. We're the city of champions.
That's right,
Herbie. I'm disgraced, Herbie, that I didn't go to one game. And you know what? It even hurts even more, TJ. I went to a Charlotte Hounds game.
Oh wow.
Oh, I know. That's you got to forgive me, man. You got to forgive me. Herbie put me on assignment. He goes, go release the Hounds. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah,
if you're on assignment, that's a different story, though, right? Like,
yes, that's true.
It's not like you were, sitting at your place one night and going, Checkers, Hounds.
Yeah,
I'm going to go to the, So we'll cut you some slack there.
Right on, TJ. You know what? You also do you do it all. So how is the marketing of the team going?
Yeah, we have a relatively smaller office. Oh man, I forgot to plug my laptop in. We have a relatively smaller office, so I do a number of things. I'll work on our corporate side and assist with selling advertising space inside the arena and working on corporate partnerships. But I also obviously broadcast the games and work with our PR department on player call-ups and all that other stuff to make sure that we work as checks and balances off one another.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I called you. Yeah. I called the office today, and I was going to remind you. And the lady goes, "He's not available right now." I'm like, "Can I leave a message?"
He's too big time to take our calls.
Charger real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, we're the man of everybody's word. We help him out, make sure he gets his laptop charged and his phone charged because you got to keep doing everything for business. Business does not stop. Even if you're watching,
I plugged the laptop into the wall, but apparently I did not plug the charger itself in the laptop.
Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to check my dinner, guys.
Okay, he's going to check his dinner. You and I go to chit chat a little bit. So last week against Hershey, what do you see against? You saw Hershey last weekend. Are they better than what they were a couple years ago? Because I don't think you guys even played last year. I don't think the Bears did either.
the Bears played. They played in a shortened season. They only had 33 games. The AHL ran from, I think it kicked off in January until about April. No playoffs, no postseason whatsoever. So they did play. And the Bears were one of the best teams last year in that shortened little sample. Now, there were 3 teams that didn't play. And again, it was only 33 games. So small sample size, you can only do so much with that. But they were one of the best teams, in the league last year, and they were pretty solid the year before. The Checkers went through them on their way to the Calder Cup in 2018-19. So they've been pretty decent, the last handful of years. Now, they got the better of the Checkers on Saturday night. It was Hershey's first game of the regular season. It was the Checkers' first game of the regular season. The one big difference, Hershey had played 5 preseason games leading up to that, but the Checkers didn't play any, and that's not rare for the Checkers because where we're at down here, we're kind of on an island. We're in the Atlantic Division, but our nearest opponent is basically Hershey. It's either Hershey or Lehigh Valley, one of those southern Pennsylvania teams. So there's nothing really convenient. There's no team that's very convenient to play against unless, if they got creative and maybe asked an ECHL team to play, but that's not really a preseason game if you're going to be beating up on a lower level team. But you could clearly see the differences between the 2 teams on Saturday night. It was obvious which team A has been together for a couple years because most of those players on the Bears, they have a lot of returning guys. They have a lot of guys that have played with one another over the last couple of years, and they had 5 preseason games already this year. And you could see the Checkers who are melting together 2 different affiliates, 2 different, styles of play, because ultimately at the AHL level, the NHL teams want these guys playing in a system that closely matches the system up at the NHL level so they can just interject them into the lineup and carry on and go. So you have a lot of guys learning these systems and learning where they're supposed to be and what they're doing. So, there's not a lot of familiarity between one another because they may or may not have played together before. And if they have, it wasn't very lengthy. So they did get the best of the Checkers on Saturday night, but it was Sunday afternoon after the Checkers played a full 60. They just came out guns blazing against Wilkes-Barre on Sunday and ended up getting the 4-1 win. And if it weren't for a final 2-minute, I think it was exactly at the 2-minute mark, a power play goal for Wilkes-Barre Scranton, the Checkers would have had the shutout. As a matter of fact, in goal, that was Joey DeCord. He was in goal for the Checkers on Sunday. Tuesday night, last night, he was up in New Jersey playing for the Kraken. He got the start against the Devils. So that goes to show you how quick these guys move back and forth. And if you have a good game, it gets noticed.
Right, exactly. Well, TJ, it sounds like fun, and I hope to see you up at Hershey. I'm going to try to get there this year for when you guys come to town, and when we come down to Charlotte. When I come down to Charlotte, hopefully the ACC games or the championship game is really good. Because sometimes right now it looks like it's going to be Wake Forest and Pitt. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I know you had a great dinner with chicken. How was your chicken dinner tonight?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. How was yours?
Mine's not bad. It's always good when you get it from Popeyes. It's not bad.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
You got to be Bojangles. You can't say Popeyes.
I was going to say I'm more of a Bojangles guy myself, but hey.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all right.
Well, we'll keep in touch, TJ. Thank you so much, okay?
Sounds good. Let me know. We'll see you up in Hershey.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
See ya. All right, folks. That's TJ Shalett, who covers the Checkers. He's the broadcaster. Let's bring in Hershey. The Zach Fish with us. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Good to see you. Good to talk to you. It's been far too long. We had a weird pandemic-shortened season last year, but we're back at it for real, man. So, Chris, good to chat. Thanks for having me on the program.
You're welcome. We got it on video now. That's how we.
I love it.
Yeah, we upgraded.
I love it. Upgrading. Everyone knows Zoom these days, so it's go time, man. Face for radio for me, but I'm here for you.
Yeah. Talk about last year. You did some Capitals playoff games, right? Because you filled in for somebody, right?
Yeah, a few regular season, but close enough. Yeah, I did 7 of them last year. That was awesome. Great experience, actually, before we got going in Hershey. COVID was a tough thing. A few of them were good reasons. John Walton did some national games, the former voice of the Bears, voice of the Capitals on radio now. He did some national games for NBC, so I was his fill-in then. But he had been a close contact to COVID. This was in January, February, when things were still kind of very dicey with COVID. Not that there's not concerns now, but there was a lot more concerns then. So he had been exposed, even though he was negative. He was out for 10 days, so I got to do a handful of games then. So, and then we got into our Hershey season, and very weird year, shortened season. Only played 33 games. It was supposed to be 36. No playoffs, but the Bears made the most of it. They had a lot of very good players, and had there been a Calder Cup playoffs, Hershey would have been the number 1 seed. They won the regular season championship, so it's a shame. I think TJ there, I caught the end of his segment, allude to it. The Bears were right near the top of the league in 2019-20. Season canceled due to COVID, no playoffs. 2021, they were the best team. There were no playoffs. So a lot of the core is back, and this team has a championship on their mind.
I think the last time I had you on the program, I think it was 2019. The spring of when you guys were playing the Checkers in the postseason.
Yeah, might have been. And Charlotte was a juggernaut. Charlotte was a juggernaut that year, and Charlotte is very, very different team now, as TJ I'm sure alluded to. They're no longer with the Hurricanes. A lot of those players that won the Calder Cup that year, knocking Hershey out, are now either in the NHL or spread out to other organizations. Carolina has used them as trade chips, or they've graduated to the National Hockey League. But the Checkers didn't play last year, so the Bears are very excited to play them again, and took a win in game number 1 of the season at Giant Center, and then a real good test. Head down there this weekend to North Carolina, fly out bright and early tomorrow. About 12 hours from now, I'll be on a plane, and we'll be headed to Charlotte, and I'm looking forward to getting back there. It's a fun place to be. The Checkers are always a good first-class organization, great fans, and they give Bears a good challenge down there. And they got a good team that I think, as TJ mentioned, they're only going to get better. But the Bears took it to them last Saturday night on home ice, so the challenge is now to go down and continue their winning ways after a 2-0 start for the first time in a decade on the road.
Yeah, and it's only an hour. Was it only an hour and a half flight anyway? So
yeah, nice and easy flight. We go right from Harrisburg right to Charlotte. It's a direct flight, so easy. And that's part of the reason that they're in our division and we play so much, is because they can fly right into this area and then bus to Wilkes-Barre, bus to Lehigh Valley. So yeah, their travel is not easy, but this is the one that we take a flight for in the regular season at least.
That's cool. Hey, last year you only played 30 games. Did you travel with the team on the road games, or you did it remotely from your bedroom?
Luckily, I was able to travel with the Bears. We did not have any overnight stays. They were all day trips, which alleviates hotel rooms and the protocols you had to follow when you're on someone else's property, right? We just got on the bus, and we only played 3 teams last year. Wilkes-Barre, which is about an hour and a half trip. Lehigh Valley, which is about an hour, 15, hour and a half, depending on traffic. And then we played Newark, New Jersey against Binghamton. They moved there for the year, and that was actually Binghamton's last season. But they were in Newark, so that's about 2.5 hours from where we were. So we were able to sleep in our own beds all those nights, come in, play, and get out. So I was lucky enough to travel. At the beginning of the year, I went in an auxiliary car rather than the bus. I was exposed to a few more people outside of our little locker room bubble, being in the front office of our team. But luckily, once I was able to get fully vaccinated, I was able to go on the bus. So I was lucky to travel. But you mentioned remote games. A lot of people did them. A lot of people are still doing them. A handful of those Capitals broadcasts I filled in for were remote broadcasts. Wow. So I called 2 games from Madison Square Garden and 1 from Nassau Coliseum. And I was actually at Capital One Arena in D.C. I drove from Hershey to Capital One Arena. Mm-hmm. And one of the crazy things is the Wizards, the basketball team, the NBA team, they were playing a game. So I was calling a game at Madison Square Garden up in a suite level office that was decked out into a soundproof room, while the Wizards were playing a basketball game in front of absolutely nobody. I was one of 50 people in the building that happened to peek out in the Capitals intermission and watch a little of this basketball game. So weird year. And it's very hard to call the games remotely, as I'm sure some of your guests have said. I think everybody's glad to be back, hopefully in person sooner than later.
Yeah, I have a good friend, Dave Ryan, and I said he used to do things he was telling me how difficult things were and, all this stuff. And now he goes, I'm glad I'm actually back on site, and see real time. And, I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I could sit home and do the American League Championship Series. I could do the play-by-play from watching the TV. When I was a kid, I used to do that. I used to turn down the sound, put my little recorder on, and record myself doing play-by-play of Oriole games or whatever's on TV, and play myself back on. Okay, not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too. Video games as well. You just turn the commentary off and call them. It's always good for practice. But there, being there, you get the atmosphere. You get that wide line of vision. There was a situation where I was calling Rangers Capitals, and Artemi Panarin was shot out of a cannon and got a breakaway, and the camera was late to get there. And, thank goodness I could tell it was him with the hair and the skating style, because I couldn't really see the number. The monitor wasn't great, and it was such a quick play. You see those things develop when you're actually there in the building. So, hopefully everyone will get back there. We're lucky to be traveling again and, hitting the air for Charlotte tomorrow. We're fortunate because I know, not every league, not every team is there quite yet.
Right, exactly. And your next home game is next Wednesday night. We'll be on the air next Wednesday night at that time. But you got Syracuse coming to town. Syracuse is are they still practicing in Rochester? Because I was up there years ago for a football game, indoor football, and the arena I was at, Ice Arena, was where they were practicing. The coach. I don't know.
Must have been a unique scenario. Maybe they're there on the road, or maybe they were just their rink was down. I'm not sure, but they do have. They do play in Syracuse now. We do see them quite a bit, not as much as we have in the past, but looking forward to playing them again. Yeah, we didn't, like I said, we only played 3 teams last year, so we didn't play the crunch. So it's definitely a good challenge coming in. They're affiliated with Tampa Bay, who's won back-to-back Stanley Cup. So they've had a lot of good prospects graduate that we would have seen on their team the last time we saw them that are now in the NHL. So they're always a real good challenge. But we had great crowds, Chris. The first weekend at Giant Center, first time in nearly 600 days, the fans were allowed back, because remember in the COVID year last year, we started the season with 400 fans. In a 10,000 seat building, that's nothing. We ended the year with 1,400 fans, which was better, but it was still nothing. So we had 7,500 on opening night, a little over 6,000 on the second night of the season once they tallied the numbers. And, it seemed like huge crowds, and they're only going to get better as the season goes on, as the team keeps winning too.
Exactly. Well, Zach, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for coming on, and safe trip to Charlotte. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll try to get up there one of these weekends when I'm off on a Saturday, and I'll bring my girlfriend up to watch a hockey game, but she doesn't really know about hockey. But hey, teach her a new sport.
It's something you got to experience live, as maybe listeners to your show know. Whether you're a hockey fan or not, you go to game live, you get pretty addicted. So bring her, and if anyone wants to come to a game, HersheyBears.com, all the info's on there. Always appreciate you having me on. Always appreciate talking hockey. Let's do this again soon, my friend.
I will. I'll get you on a little more this year than knowing that there's a league this year, instead of finding out it was only 30 games. It's
never going to be completely normal, but it's good to be back to close. So thanks for having me, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Have a good one. See you, dude. All right, that's Zach Fish, who is the voice of the Hershey Bears. Folks, where were you a couple of years ago when Clemson, when Pittsburgh rolled into Clemson and gave Clemson their first loss at home? And I think this was like around 2016. So these two, but here's a clip from the Pittsburgh radio network, Bill Hillgrove, with the call.
Kick is on its way. That kick long enough. That kick high enough. And the kick is good. 43-42. Panthers have the lead with 6 seconds to go in Death Valley. And it's on the field, and it's over, ladies and gentlemen. The Panthers have defeated the Clemson Tigers. An unbelievable upset.
I feel pretty good now.
Let's bring in Alan. Alan, can they do it again this weekend? That's the question.
Well, absolutely they can. They're favored in this one. It's not the same Pitt and Clemson teams that we saw in 2016 or 2018 or 2020. Pitt's playing pretty well right now. Clemson, uncharacteristic struggles so far this season. So, it's kind of shoot on the other foot here. I think Pitt is the team that has the higher expectations at this point.
Yeah. How close was it for College Game Day to be there? Because I was reading it was up to between you and LA, and they decided to go to LA because there's a lot more things going to do in LA. But I feel like they should have done there at Heinz Field, because this is a big game showing off the ACC again.
Well, if Pitt hadn't lost to Western Michigan, I think they would have been there. Oregon loses to Stanford, but they have that good win over Ohio State. Pitt's schedule, not the greatest this year, and so when you lose to one of those lesser lights and then you don't have a good win to make up for it, you're not going to get the same kind of credit. And so I understand Oregon is the draw there, and they're going to UCLA, which is a beautiful place to play. So I understand that as well. But I think pretty close, because close as Pitt's been since I've been covering the team anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah, this must be the big game since for Pitt for a very long time since they moved to Heinz Field, right? I think the Miami game in 2017 was a big game because Miami was rolling in there undefeated, right?
Well, yeah, there was that. I mean, but Pitt was kind of out of it that year. The Penn State game in 2016, was a pretty big one. The Penn State game in 2018 was a pretty big one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a couple recently, but yeah, this has to be right up there, I would think.
Yeah. So talk about Kenny Pickett. Kenny, it seems like he's going to be, if the draft is today, I saw a publication said that he could be the first pick in the NFL draft. You don't want to be the first pick in the NFL draft because you got everybody and their brother wants to be. Just look at Trevor Lawrence. He's 0-5, and my girlfriend asked me last weekend. She goes, "Has he won a game yet in the NFL?" I'm like, "No, he's probably sitting in a dark room going, where's Dabo? I need Dabo."
Well, that's it. You're the number one pick, and you go to a bad football team, right? I mean, that I think is why sometimes the expectations get out of whack. And you're seeing Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's a really good quarterback. But that team that was way more than a quarterback away, and they go and get a head coach who's new to the NFL, that's not going to make things easier. So yeah, if I'm Kenny Pickett, I do not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could spend the money, but I don't think 1-1 would be the place to be. I think he's the kind of quarterback, if you think about projecting him to the next level, where he's not going to be some kind of transcendent talent that's going to be an all-pro, but if you put the pieces or good pieces around him, I think he can be successful. And I think he has good toughness, good awareness, and a good arm, and really not like the prettiest pinpoint passer that maybe you'll see from some of those guys, but it's a weird draft class because there isn't anybody that's right now, definitely going to be the favorite to go 1-1 or even to be the first quarterback off the board. I don't really think anybody has any idea right now who that's going to be.
Yeah, and who's going to be right now? It's who's the Lions are 0-6.
Yeah, I guess they got a bunch of first round picks.
Yeah,
they don't have to take a quarterback early. Who knows?
Yeah. But I feel like this weekend's game against Clemson is not the game of the year for Pitt. It's the next 2 weeks when they have to face Miami and North Carolina. And if they beat both Miami and North Carolina, you can pack your bags. You can go to Charlotte.
Yep, that's true. They don't need to beat Clemson to win the Coastal. They need to beat Clemson if they want that ACC championship game to mean something, right? Other than if they want to go to a New Year's Six bowl, if they want to have a chance to, have the kind of season that Pitt has not had in a long time, they got to win this game. They can still have a good season if they lose to Clemson, but I don't think a 2-loss Pitt team is going any farther than whatever the Peach Bowl, I guess. Well, wherever the ACC champion is going if they're not taken to the playoffs. So, right now I think FPI says they got about an 18% chance of making the playoff. I think that's honestly a little bit high to me because I do feel like they need a bunch of things to go right. But when you have that chance, you got to keep winning to keep it. And so even though it's Clemson and even though they don't really need this win to wrap up the Coastal, as they essentially have a 2-game lead on the whole division right now, I think it's a pretty important win to keep that hope alive and to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I just feel like next weekend's game with Miami because Miami's been a thorn in Pitt's side for the last couple of years. We were there a couple of years ago when Miami beat them in the misty rain and yucky. It was like one of those bad days for Pitt. And then Pitt beat them in 2017 up there. So it seems like Pitt knows how to beat Miami, and Miami's one of those teams right now that they're confused. They don't know what's going on. Should they play freshman players? Should they bring in their veterans? Should Manny Diaz get a lifetime subscription to a new place to live because they want to run him out of town? It seems like you don't know what Miami team is going to show up. It could be one of those things next weekend.
Yeah, I think I don't think Miami's playing very well at all right now. I think there's a big opportunity there, and Carolina is a team that's always played Pitt tough as well. And Mac Brown's a very good coach, and so I think that'll be a tough matchup as well. I think that one's on a Thursday night too.
Yeah.
So that'll be a big game as well. They've got really 3 in a row here that, if Pitt gets through these 3, even at 2-1, you feel very good about them winning the Coastal. If they get through 3-0, I think it starts to look legitimate that if they could run the table, they could be a playoff kind of team.
Exactly. Well, Alan, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and enjoy the game this weekend. I was supposed to come up there, but I decided to go to the Miami game next weekend. It would be easier because somebody wanted my pass, and I told the lady, go ahead, enjoy. But I totally understand. It's a big game up there, and then they want to pack. Hopefully, Heinz Field is packed of people instead of look like a junior high school field.
I don't know if they're going to sell it out, but I think they're going to get more than they usually do. I'll say that.
Yeah, and it's the first time Clemson makes the trip to Pittsburgh in their history, so it's going to be very interesting.
That's right.
Yeah. So, well, good luck this week. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, man. See you. All right, that's Alan Sanders, who covers the Pitt Panthers. Speaking of Pitt, let's talk about Kenny Pickett. He had the chance today to talk to some people on the phone. He had an interview with some of the local people there, and he was asked about. Let me take this off real quick. He was asked about playing against Clemson's defense.
The national notoriety, but you guys have talked all week about how you guys still have the respect. It's still Clemson. It's still this program that has dominated the ACC. What are you focusing on to kind of say, like, hey, these are the things we still do very well?
I mean, I'm just watching their defense. Obviously, the defense is one of the top defenses in the country. Have great players at every level.
Outside of 17, being able to kind of sneak in.
Yeah, that's Kenny Pickett talking about playing against
national notoriety, but.
So, I don't want to say at the same time. So, anyway, let's get back to let me get a hold of Dave here, Lampin, who is the voice of one of the broadcasters for the Bengals. In the meantime, let's play the interview with Sean Tucker I talked to this morning on the program. Thank you so much for taking some time this morning. I know you got 4 minutes to get ready for class, but real quick, I didn't realize you're a kid from Owings Mills, Maryland, so you're a freshman up in Syracuse. What is it like being up there with all this? You guys are doing so well, and you're rushing the football really well too.
Yeah, I would say it's a good feeling being up here, and the season's going good so far. Definitely trying to get some more wins in our win column.
Yeah.
But due to my success, definitely got to credit my line up front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about last week against Clemson. Tough loss, but it was still you rushed pretty well against that Clemson defense. What type of style running back are you? Because I know you're from Maryland. Yeah, did you watch a lot of Ravens football when you were a kid growing up?
Yeah, definitely say I watched a lot of Ravens. Definitely a big Ravens fan.
Yeah. Who did you idolize as a kid watching the Ravens?
Definitely the Ravens running backs. They had throughout the years. They always have some good running backs who always pop out of nowhere and just do good in the league. So definitely been looking at them a lot.
Yeah. So this weekend you guys are playing Virginia Tech down in Blacksburg. Is it always a dangerous place for people? You probably saw this over your lifetime watching football. What do you guys have to do to control that noise down there?
I would just say, just focus on us. Just block out the crowd noise. Just focus on our plays, focus on our assignments, and execute.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot of people up there in Syracuse. I know some people up there, friends of mine, are talking about you taking Floyd Little's number. How's it like getting compared to that that good running back in the history of Syracuse football?
I definitely say it's definitely an honor. He's definitely a great, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. To be compared to someone like him, it's definitely a good show.
That's true. Well, real quick, you went to Cabral Hall High School, here in Baltimore. What was it like playing for Cabral Hall? Because Cabral Hall is a very good football program, and you guys have those Turkey Bowl rivalry games against the other team, the Bakersfield, on the Dons during Thanksgiving. What was it like? Is there something that you always remember from high school?
I would definitely say those Turkey Bowl games on Thanksgiving. Preparing for that and just knowing it's a big game, having everybody come out and watch this on Thanksgiving, being like the only game on TV. It's definitely something I miss.
Yeah. Well, real quick before I want to ask you, class. What class are you going to this morning? Because I'm out of college since.
I actually got a geography exam.
Oh, that's cool. Did you study? For it?
Yep.
Well, I want to wish you good luck for it, and I want to wish you and the Syracuse Orange a good trip down to Blacksburg this weekend.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Good luck in class.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you. All right, folks, that's Sean Tucker, one of the running backs for Syracuse from Owings Mills, Maryland. Let's finish up the show here with Dave Lampin, who is the voice of one of the broadcasters for the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals coming to Baltimore this weekend and take on Lamar Jackson and the higher power Ravens. But Joe Burrow is doing a great job there, Dave. So I guess it's going to be if you have a ticket for this game, I guess you want to stay in your seat for the entire 4 quarters.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is playing well, but the last time, or the only time he played against the Ravens, he got sacked 7 times, he got hit 15 more. So the Ravens really took advantage of poor offensive line play, poor recognition and communication of blitzes and free runners as a result of it, and he paid a pretty good price. So I think he's only played 16 games. He's only really technically officially completed his rookie year, played 10 last year and the 6th this year. So I think that that experience that he had in Baltimore last year will stand him in good stead. He knows what he's looking at. He knows what Wink Martindale's about in terms of pressure packages and things of that nature. So we'll see how not only Joe Burrow plays, but the offensive line, if there's improvement there, and give him a chance to perform.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. I was hearing today I was driving around town here in Baltimore. I heard that Lamar Jackson is 5-0 against you guys, and he's been running wild. But he's been talking about how great the Bengals defense is better this year than last year.
Yeah, the Bengals spent a ton of money the last 2 off seasons, over $100 million in free agency, and addressed the defensive line and drafted at the linebacker position. But in the secondary and up front, the defensive line, they signed DJ Reader as a free agent, Larry Ogunjobi, Trey Hendrickson, gave him a big contract. He got him from the Saints, Ogunjobi from the Browns, DJ Reader from the Texans. And on the back end, Mike Hilton from the Steelers, Eli Apple from the Giants, Awuzie from the Dallas Cowboys. So, they've revamped their defense. There's no question about it. It's a much different defensive football team in terms of personnel. They're playing at a much higher level. They every level of the defensive line, linebackers, and in the secondary, they're all doing a good job, and it's a very cohesive group. And they've played well. It's all about how many points do you give up, and that's how the game is. The game's decided, and they're 5th in the NFL in terms of points allowed. But this offense will by far be the best offense that they've gone against this year. There's no question about it.
And you're going up against a Ravens defense. It's not that type of defense that you've seen a lot last couple of years. They gave up almost 500 yards to the Colts, on Monday Night Football, and the Raiders, ran through them, on opening night. So I guess the Ravens are not that type of defense that they were years ago.
Well, I think again, you look at it, and they're maybe not the same type of defense in terms of personnel, but the same type of packages with Don Wink Martindale. I mean, I know interior their defensive tackles, Williams and Calais Campbell are a load for any center and guard group in the National Football League. The thing about the Ravens you got to respect is 17 players that are on injured reserve. And they just keep finding, next man up and go play well and get things done. I got a lot of respect for what the Baltimore Ravens are about, and I don't think anybody in Cincinnati is taking it for granted that they're not going to come out and play, real good defensively against the Cincinnati Bengals. You certainly can't go into the game thinking that that's going to be the case. And they haven't given up a ton of points either. I mean, they've only given up 123 points. The Bengals have given up 111. So it's not like, they're 7th in the NFL in points allowed. And again, that's how that's how games are won and lost. You got to keep opponents off the scoreboard.
That's true. Well, talk about the AFC North. It seems like this year they're getting a little bit better than every year. Seems like now you guys are getting better, and then Cleveland's been getting better the last couple of years, and the Steelers right now are like in the middle, and then you got the Ravens. So it seems like it's a competitive division.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been one of the premier divisions in football for a while in terms of you got at least one wild card, and in some years you got 2 wild cards coming out of the AFC North. So I do think top to bottom that it's a pretty good division. Cleveland's obviously struggling with injury. Everybody is. I mean, that's life in the National Football League. The Ravens, as I said, 17 guys in injury reserve. That's the most in the National Football League. The Cleveland Browns have got their share of injuries. Their quarterback, both their offensive tackles. I mean, the list goes on and on for them as well. Pittsburgh's in a little bit of a transition, but Pittsburgh's finding themselves. Pittsburgh will start running the ball. They've always played great defense. I think they'll continue to play great defense. But Ben Roethlisberger needs a running game, and they're going to have to figure out a way to get that done. But I wouldn't count them out either. They've got too much history, too much pride. That's a very prideful organization.
Exactly. Well, Dave, thank you so much for coming on. Real quick, talk about your new show. You do a lot of stuff on YouTube about In the Trenches. When did that start up?
Yeah, that's just at the beginning of the year, probably, I guess, in the first quarter of the year, February, March, I started doing a podcast called In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, and just interviewing as many different people in the sports world in the Cincinnati community and elsewhere. But during the season here, now that the Bengals season has started, do a lot about the Cincinnati Bengals with respect to opponents, broadcasters, players, coaches, all that sort of thing. Just giving people as much information as possible about the upcoming game, and then doing a recap of the game when it's over. And it's been a lot of fun. As you know, when you start podcasting, you find things out about people that you had no idea about. Information surfaces on podcasts. It's quite amazing.
It is. I found out that you played in the United States Football League. I was like, wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. You were with the Generals, right? Yes, played for the former president. Played for Donald Trump. Played in the New Jersey Generals with Brian Sipe, Herschel Walker, and it was an interesting time in football life for sure. There's no doubt. What was it like having Donald Trump as your owner? Was he like every day down at practice yelling at you, going, "We need to make money here. Come on." No, I'll tell you though, he's a great owner. He spent money. He basically some of the USFL owners couldn't make their payroll at the end when the league started to have some financial problems. He paid everybody every penny that was owed to them, and he was very, very intent and aware of doing things like the National Football League did. He would ask guys that came to the USFL from the NFL, is this how the NFL does it? How's the travel? How's the food? How's the accommodations? How's this? How's that? It was very, very competitive. That's not surprising. Wow. See, like you said on the podcast, you learn some new things from people you never know. That's right. Absolutely, Chris. Exactly. Well, have a safe drive. Thanks for coming on, and safe trip to Baltimore. Thank you. Appreciate it, sir. All right, man. Thank you so much. Take care. I see you. All right, folks. That's Dave Lampin, who is one of the former Cincinnati Bengals who are on the Bengals radio network. The Ravens and Bengals this weekend. Bengals and Ravens Sunday at 1 p.m. on CBS. So the game's on Sunday at 1 on CBS. So, folks, thanks for joining us tonight. Real quick, we're going to wrap it up here. The Astros won the game tonight. They have a 3-2 series lead on the Boston Red Sox, heading back to Houston. Hang on a second. One for the Sox. So let's see here. Yeah. So the Red Sox are down 3-2. It started off pretty early for Houston with Chris Sale giving up a home run to Alvarez here. And this is courtesy of the Astros Twitter field. Hit that ball right over the Green Monster, back there in Fenway. So that's the Alvarez hit a solo homer. He scored 3 runs tonight for the Astros in Game 5, so they got the win. So that's Game 6 back in Houston. So the Astros are on the verge of going to the World Series again. Speaking of World Series, back in 2015, we're just finishing up the program here. In 2015, the Mets beat the Cubs on this day in October 20th, Tuesday, October. It was actually October 15th, October 20th. Hold on here. Let's see here, October 20th. So October 20th, the Mets beat the Cubs. Score 5-2. And looking to, and this guy, Daniel Murphy, was on fire during that whole postseason. He had a home run, his 5th home run in consecutive days in a game. So the Mets beat the Cubs on this date in 2015, and they went on to go to the World Series when they got basically embarrassed by the Kansas City Royals. So there's Cespedes right there who tried to hit one out to center field. So, folks, thanks for joining us tonight here on the program. Thanks for you and for stopping by. Next Wednesday night, put this on here. Next Wednesday night, we will be live at 7 p.m. on SportsTalk Heidel, and we will preview Miami versus Pitt and Knoll FSU versus Clemson. So anyway, so that's next Wednesday night here on the program. We'll be live at 7 o'clock. We'll do Miami versus Pittsburgh, and Florida State taking on Clemson. And then we'll do a roundtable discussion with Miami and Pittsburgh next week. So, folks, thanks for joining us here tonight. Have a great thanks to the folks from everybody from the folks on Fox Sports, ESPN, and the Houston Astros for letting us use the clips for tonight's show. The Astros, and the Pittsburgh Video Network. Letting us use some clips for tonight's program. Thanks for the folks at Fox Sports, ESPN, and the Astros, and Pittsburgh Radio Network for joining us. Let us borrow some clips for tonight's show. We will see you next week. In the meantime, have a great night, everybody, and we'll leave you with something here. Let's see here. I don't know what we got here. We got something we can play music-wise. So, see what we got here. So we're trying to give you some goodbye music here. Come on. I'm coming. We'll play some Eric Clapton. Have a great night, everybody.
Glowing in the dark. was you, me.